everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Jasmin Habib if you've never been here before, and if you haven't, hit the subscribe button, like this video right now. I'm waiting. Okay, anyways, today, so I've made these tips broken down into two sections. If you're out in public and you're having anxiety or a panic attack, or just like overall like a holistic way to combat anxiety. And I'm not a medical professional, I am not trained in this field, but I have a lot of experience and I've had therapy and stuff like that done, and I've got these tips along the way. I've researched them, I've learned them myself, I've gotten them from professionals, and overall I've learned most of these myself because I feel like the tips that we get given are more based on like calm down, have some medicine, go for have a rest, like your girl needs more than that, and I'm assuming a lot of other people need more than that too. And I'm not saying that medical advice is bad, but I personally like a holistic, more like wholesome approach. So my tips for when you're just trying to combat it all together is, it's quite broad, but it actually helps so much in terms of like the quality of life, and it's all about your consistency. If you keep trying on this and you keep doing this every day, you see an improvement. Your anxiety will gradually slow down every single day, and you'll find yourself so much better and so much happier and so much more relaxed overall. Okay, so my first tip is to drink chamomile tea about 2 to 3 times a day, or even more if you can, and that depends on your level of anxiety. Because when I had really, really bad panic attacks in the past, and they still come from time to time, like everyone suffers with anxiety, whether they know it or not. Everyone gets anxious from time to time, but chamomile has like serotonin releasing properties. It balances the serotonin in your brain, and it allows you to calm down better, and it allows you to just slow down, and it has like a very, very mild sedative effect. I wouldn't call it sedative because I don't really like that word, but it has a very good soothing effect on the mind and the body. And speaking of chamomile tea, I'm actually drinking some in the, celebration of this video. Drink your chamomile tea. It is so good for you. Have it in the morning. I know people will be like, that'll put you to sleep, but for the people who have anxiety, it's going to help you stay with it, because when you have a cortisol release and when you have anxiety, it lowers your IQ by half, and that means all your decision making throughout the day, if you're stressed and anxious, will be based on half your IQ. So drink your chamomile tea. Okay, so my next tip is to write out your anxieties on a weekly basis or even a daily basis. And this can just be a one-off activity, or this can be like a recurring activity. But basically what you'll do is, a lot of us get stuck in our head, and that's what anxiety is. It's all about like the way we're thinking, and we get caught up in what's happening inside. But when we write it down, so for example, if I was to write down, I'm anxious about going outside, or I'm anxious about seeing a person or a friend. If I'm anxious about something, I will write down exactly what I'm worried about, or I'm worried about ending up like this in the future. Write down your worries for the past, present, and future. And you'll start to realize that they're actually more tangible, and you can actually tackle them so much better. So you can write out strategies to actually reduce the stress about them. For example, people could be anxious about an upcoming project and they really, really want to get a good mark, and people with anxiety feel this a lot more than others. So they can write out that anxiety, and then I would say rate it from a 1 to 10 intensity level, just so you know how much it's taking a grip over your life, so you can come back and look and reflect. But yeah, a lot of people don't realize that our problems are actually tangible and fixable. So write them down and write a strategy to fix them. So for example, if it's that project like I was saying, and you have a lot riding on it, you can write a plan on how to attack it. And if you're struggling, ask for help. It's so simple, but with anxiety we tend to get caught up in our thoughts, and we forget all of these simple strategies. So yeah, my second tip would be practical and write out your anxieties. Okay, so my third thing is this is very holistic in its approach, but drink more water and actually eat better, because I noticed how much more anxious I get when I eat processed foods, when I eat a lot of red meat, when you just eat junk and sugar, because your like insulin's going up and down, your body's in like a hormonal like flux, and your body's just kind of like, what's going on? Plus your anxiety, it's going to make you so much more like anxious. You don't want that. What we want is a holistic approach and some calmness in our lives. Girl, you got this. All you need to do is start eating better, start drinking more water. And yes, I also do have some water with me. I've had about 3 or 4 of these so far today, and it's like only 10 o'clock. So drink your water. It helps so much. It'll also help with like your skin and your, your bloating. But yeah. Okay, another thing is to be in nature more. So a practical example is I've been at home a lot because I'm currently unemployed, because your girl's looking for work, covering for my injury, all that kind of stuff. I'm used to being at home and there's lots of sun, and I go for walks mostly every day. And then yesterday I had a massive seminar, and I was in this massive theatre from before the sun rose, from about 6 o'clock until 6:30 at night. And I got a few breaks during the day to go outside, but the theatre was very dark, and I found myself about 3 times more anxious than I'd usually be on a day, because I was just in the dark all the time, or just inside all the time. And we don't realize how like soothing nature is, and how calming like the sun and the plants and the trees are, and all that kind of stuff. And even fresh air and cold air is so therapeutic for you, and over time you'll see yourself start to change, and you'll feel yourself being calmer. And if you live in a big city where there's not much nature, or it's just a bit harder to connect with greenery and blue skies and stuff like that, get houseplants. Like I have some houseplants, a few in my room, and I have a picture of a plant, and then a big plant, and a few others. And I have a lot more around the house because my room's a bit too dark to keep them alive. But yeah, do that. Go in nature a lot more, and go for walks a lot more. Do that and you'll feel so much better. Okay, my next one is to do yoga and exercise. And I'm going to group them together for time's sake. But moving your body and flowing will get rid of all that pent up energy that anxiety gives us. Because I'm pretty sure you guys feel it. When you get anxious, you want to move, you want to do something, you feel very jittery. And exercising or walking it out or doing yoga is honestly amazing, and you'll feel the benefits of it in the long run. And over time you'll slowly start to get more like calm and deal with your anxieties better, and then the energy will flow outwards. Like, I'm pretty spiritual with this, and I believe that we all have stored energy in our bodies, and if we stay stagnant in our physical bodies, our life and our mental health will stagnate, and I don't know if that's the right word, I don't know. Anyways, so I believe that if we move our bodies more, if we get more in touch with our bodies, and just like, all the energy will release, and all the thoughts and all the feelings and emotions that we've stored up for so long will release. And you might feel yourself starting to be anxious on the walk or the exercise or the yoga, but that's happening for a reason. Work through it. Ask yourself why it's happening. Okay, my next one is to write about how you're feeling in the morning and in the nights. And you don't have to do it every day, but it's really, really good to actually just step into your body, step into your mind for a moment and say, how am I feeling? Because sometimes we're actually not that anxious, but because we're so used to being anxious, we just perceive that's how we're going to be that day. So maybe sitting down and writing it out, we can be like, hey, today's going to be a good day, I'm excited. Or it can be the other way around. Sorry about that, but yeah, we can also have it on the flip side. We can realize that we're actually more anxious than we think we are. And we can employ these strategies. Actually, for the sake of time, I think I'm going to split this up into 2 videos. I'm not even done with the tips for like a holistic approach to anxiety. But what I'm saying is, if we realize that we're more anxious than we are, in the second video you can use those tips and on how to actually calm yourself down in the moment. But yeah, just knowing what's going on is really, really great, a great benefit from journaling. So just do that. Perfect. Anyways, the next tip is to have a clean space. And like, I'm pretty sure you guys have heard the saying that I don't know how to talk today. An unclean space is having an unclean mind. Like, when you have clutter all around you, it usually reflects the way you're feeling inside. And I've really lived that out the past few months, because I just moved from Wollongong down to Sydney, and my room has been a mess ever since. And that wasn't necessarily because I moved, because I'm usually a very clean person. I like cleaning up and unpacking, but my mental space was very confused. I was very all over the place. I was like, what's going on? And I didn't even know if this was permanent. Like, I just felt very, like, up in the air. And my space reflected that, and it made me more anxious. It really just amplified the situation I was in. So what I'm trying to say is, clean your space, even if there's going to be some resistance, because it took me a while. And even still, like, I just cleaned my room and I feel 10 times, like, better. I feel 10 times lighter. Like, I feel so mentally clear. And just having a clear space really will get you in the right mind frame to work through your anxiety in a very comfortable and appropriate and safe way, because an unclean space might make you feel a bit unsafe and a bit, confused. It'll exaggerate how you're feeling. So clean your space up. That's a really good tip, and I'm gonna stand by that and keep my room clean. So another one is to have a self-care ritual. And I know this sounds a bit self-explanatory, but I think it's really understated. It's not like, all the people you see on YouTube with all those beautiful morning routines. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. I love those videos, but I mean like a very serious, like specific to you self-care ritual. Like yesterday when I got home and I felt very, very sore, what I did was, I haven't done this in a while, I lied down on the floor and I just felt my body. And that to me is a self-care sort of ritual. I did some yoga, I did some foam rolling. I used a towel between my shoulder blades to really, really like undo the stress in my shoulders, because your injury, girl. And I got a heat pack. I put that on. I got some, what was it? Hot chocolate. I put some hot chocolate and I just unwinded. I had a nice warm shower, and that to me is a self-care ritual, and for everyone it'll be different. Some days it won't even be that for me, but having a few self-care rituals that will help you in the situation that you're in is very, very beneficial. And if you just keep practicing them and you keep doing them, you'll start to see the calmness from those rituals seep into your life. And you'll start to see how much better it'll make you feel, and how much more energized and relieved and relaxed it'll make you feel. And ultimately less anxious in the long run. Even in short term, to be honest, I think that's a really good thing for anxiety in the moment. But sometimes with anxiety in the moment, you need to have quick strategies, because it's not always easy to just be like, let's relax. It's not always going to work. But yeah, so my next one is to take up a hobby, and this could be anything. It could be trying something new, and I know for a lot of people this is a cause of anxiousness. This could actually make you more anxious, and I understand that. And I'm not going to say this in a way that's like do it, but talk it up with a professional or a friend or someone that you trust, and try and work through it. It can be something at home. You can start it at home, but maybe going to a painting class, a pottery class, a yoga class, a meditation class. You can even do that stuff at home. Download Skillshare, and I'm not sponsored, trust me, but it is a really good platform. Download Skillshare, learn something on there, do anything you want. Try dancing, try learning dancing at home. Start up a skill that will make you just like have a mental release without having to necessarily relax, because it's still engaging. It's still engaging your mind. It's still engaging your working mind. It's getting that anxious energy to be focused into something else. And that can be applied to focus on your work as well, but I'm not going to say that in this video, because that could actually just be masking your anxieties instead of working with them. Okay. And yeah. So yeah, that's just about it of this video. I'm going to make 2 parts. Sorry guys, it's really windy right now, so if there's any noise or any flying. But I'm going to make a second part of this video talking about tips in the moment, like if you're out, if you're at work, if you're with friends, some tips that you can use that can actually help bring you out of your panic attack, bring you out of your anxiety, and bring you out of your head and back into the real situation and back into reality. So I hope these tips helped, guys. They've really, really helped me over the past few years, and it's made me the person I am today. I have a lot of stress in my life, both self-caused and both from my environment, but I deal with it the best I have ever dealt with it before today because of these tips. And just employing them in your life, like it doesn't have to be every single day or every single week. Sometimes you might miss a week. But yeah, sometimes you might miss a week, and that's okay. That's all part of the process. But just know, the more you try these things, the more you get up and say, I can do it. The more you say, I want to work with this. I don't want to live like this anymore. I don't want to be anxious all the time anymore. That's when you take back your power, and that's the most important step in your anxiety journey. just taking back the power and being like, no, fuck this, I'm gonna actually take control, because you are in control. And I'll talk about that in the next video. Thank you guys so much for watching this. Have a lovely day. I hope you stay tuned for the next video that comes out. But yeah, lots of love, guys. Bye.